Hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge, back once again in another new YouTube segment. In this case, I'm just continuing my series about the Valiant Comics Deluxe Edition range of hardcovers. Today's video is going to focus exclusively on which of these deluxe editions contain double dips. Now you may be wondering what a double dip is. Well, it's simple. A double dip is when two different collected editions contain some of the same issues. I know that's obvious to some of you, but it's not necessarily obvious to new comic collectors, so I'm going to make sure I explain it here. So, for example, a particular volume of comics, volume 1 here, might collect issues 1 to 10. Now a second volume might be released later on, here, that collects issues 8 to 20. That is what we would call a slight double dip, to the tune of 3 issues, so issues 8, 9 and 10. This happens quite often, and normally it's something that I can stomach and it's not that big a deal. Now, as I say, generally a few issues double dipped here or there is fine, and there are often good reasons for that. But occasionally you'll get what I call a full double dip. That would be where you might have volume 1 here, as before, collecting issues 1 to 10. And then a second volume, that later gets solicited and released, might collect issues 1 to 14, for example. In this case, and I'm sorry to say that this does happen a lot more often than you might think, all the issues that are in one collected edition are also collected somewhere else. So, for this example, the existence of the second collection makes the earlier release, which I've labelled volume 1 here, totally irrelevant, and you should therefore probably avoid it. And that is what double dipping is. Does that make sense? I hope so, because we're pressing straight on. Today I'm going to be looking at the 4 Valiant Deluxe Editions which are full double dips and which I would recommend avoiding purchasing as part of your collection. So, double dip 1 is here. The first double dip I want to look at is the cover of the Faith Deluxe Edition. You can see there it collects issues 1 till 4. However, all 4 of these issues are also collected here in the second Faith Deluxe Edition to be released. You can see the cover here. In other words, if you have this thicker second volume, you don't need the older, slimmer volume at all. Let's move on to double dip 2. Now, what you see here is the cover to Divinity. Divinity is a trilogy of limited series called Divinity 1, 2 and 3, respectively. That's numbered in Roman numerals. The first volume of Divinity, the 4 issues of Divinity 1, are collected here, and here's the cover. However, the full Divinity trilogy was subsequently collected here in a much bigger volume. Now, this full trilogy release had the exact same cover as the slimmer release of Divinity 1. So luckily, once it went out of print, Valiant reprinted it with a different cover that looks like this. So this hardcover that we're looking at now collects everything in the original slimmer Divinity Deluxe Edition, which only collected the first miniseries. What we're looking at here collects all 3 miniseries. Let's move on to double dip number 3. This book here is a standalone event book called Armor Hunters. It collects Armor Hunters 1 to 4, Armor Hunters Aftermath 1, Armor Hunters Bloodshot 1 to 3, Armor Hunters Harbinger 1 to 3, Unity 8 to 11, and Exo Manowar 23 to 29. This volume is great, however it's a full double dip with this, which is Exo Manowar Volume 3. This volume collects Armor Hunters issues 1 to 4 and Exo 23 to 29, but none of the spin-offs. That means that as well as collecting all the issues in this edition, the Armor Hunters Deluxe Edition, which we looked at first, also collects a variety of spin-off issues to this event, making that the definitive version to read. In other words, if you have this, then you do not need the slimmer Exo Manowar 3. Hope that's clear. Let's move on to double dip 4. Secret Weapons was released as a slim deluxe edition containing the 4-issue miniseries. However, a new deluxe edition, which is going to be for Harbinger Wars 2, has recently been solicited for a summer 2020 release, and that will collect all the issues in the Secret Weapons Deluxe Edition, rendering it unnecessary to collect, because everything will be contained in the new Harbinger Wars 2 Deluxe Edition. So that's the 4 double dips. Now, there's something else that I just want to mention here, given that we're talking about deluxe editions you shouldn't purchase in my opinion. I did say there were only 4 full double dips in the Valiant Deluxe Edition range, and that's true. However, I want to point out this particular random deluxe edition called Q2, The Return of Quantum and Woody. This book takes place in the old 90s Valiant continuity and has absolutely nothing to do with the modern comics, even though it was written and published quite recently. Don't be fooled, but if you are a completionist and want even this out of continuity deluxe edition just because it's the same height and width as your other deluxe editions, then obviously feel free to pick it up. And there you have it, guys. Those are the 5 deluxe editions that I would recommend that you're not to buy, even if you're buying all the others and you want a full collection of Valiant. Obviously, of course, if you are the sort of completionist that wants every single release, whether or not it's double dip or not, then that's entirely up to you. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like, comment and subscribe. Please let me know what you think of this Valiant Deluxe Edition overview, and especially what you think of double dipping. Do you mind them? Or are you the sort of completionist that literally has to have absolutely everything? Can you handle knowing that your collection isn't technically complete? Well, that eats at you. And as always, feel free to tweet me at I am Thomas Judge. As always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon and picking up the first volume of my episodic prose novel about superheroes, which is called No Gods or Kings. That's available for less than $1, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's already free. It's a story set in a world much like our own, but where superpowers become reality, and shows how the world changes dramatically as a result. A link to the Amazon page on the website is in the description below. So until next time, guys, stay classy.